Hi students. In this presentation, we are going to see how a knowledge is represented in artificial intelligence. Here we are going to see four kinds of forms: negation normal form, Prenex normal form, conjunctive normal form, and Skolem standard form. What is negation normal form? A negation normal form is a formula in first order logic in which negation appears only in front of atomic propositions, that is literals, not in front of any complex expressions. So here we must note negation is allowed only before atomic propositions and uses only the logical connectives and or. Does not contain a single implication or by implications or quantifiers inside negations. So allowed here or simple prepositions, literals with negations and or. So when we want to convert this, these are the rules we must follow to convert. The first one is to remove implications, whether it can be single or biconditionals. So how to remove it? P implies Q. That can be replaced with negation P or Q. If it is biconditional, P implies Q, Q implies P. Then that can be replaced with P implies Q and Q implies P. Then what we have to do is to move negations inward. We can use De Morgan's law to push negations inside until they apply only to the literals. Suppose if the negation is for both P and Q, then it can be written negation P or negation Q. If it is with R, P, R, Q, then we can write negation P and negation Q. If it is a double negation before any literal, then we can just write P instead of negation P. Then we have to standardize the variables, rename the bound variables uniquely to avoid confusions. And we are not going to change quantifier order. Just we are going to do only move the negations inside. This is called negation normal form. So for example, negation P implies Q. So we have to remove the implications. So instead of that, we write negation P or Q, and the whole negation is outside. Now when we apply the De Morgan's law in step 2, this negation goes inside for the negation P also and for the Q also by changing R into and. Then we have to remove the double negation. So the answer now is P and negation Q. So what is Prenex normal form? The Prenex normal form is if all its quantifiers appearing at the beginning of any formula, then we can call it as a Prenex normal form. So first all quantifiers, then followed by quantifier free matrix. The general form given here is Q1, X1, Q2, X2, then after that matrix. So this Qi belongs to for all or there exist quantifiers. Then after that we have the matrix without any quantifiers. So all quantifiers are moved to the front. The order of quantifiers is also preserved. How? These existential and universal quantifiers that are present. So the rules for writing this. First of all, we have to remove the implications as we have seen in the negative normal form. Then we have to move the negations inward using De Morgan's laws. Then we have to standardize the variables. If there are so many variables with the same name, we can standardize it. And then we have to move the quantifiers to the front. Then we have to ensure all quantifiers are at the beginning and the matrix has no quantifiers. For example, here, for all x, P of x implies there exists y, Q of x comma y. Now we have to remove the implications. The quantifiers will present as it is only when we take P of x implies there exists Q of x comma y. We just use this with P implies Q, not P or Q. Then we have to move the negations inward, so we just do that as it is. So here there is no change needed because already it is in front of the literals only. We have to standardize the variable. Already the variables are with x and y only, so we need not standardize it. Now we have to move the quantifiers to the front. We just take the existential quantifier there exists y only to the front after universal quantifier x. So universal x and existential y, then the remaining will follow as it is. Now this is in the Prenex normal form. Then let us see conjunctive normal form. What is conjunctive normal form? It is a conjunction of disjunctions, that is and of r's. There is conjunction of one or more disjunctions. This is conjunctive normal form. So it is a conjunction classes. Each class is a disjunction or of literals. So first of all, we have to make all the literals into R, and then we have to combine them with AND. So for example, here P or Q or not R. So here we can just make them in the conjunctive form as the first one with R, the second one expression is also with R, the third one is also with R, everything is combined with AND. So that is in the conjunctive normal form. What is allowed here is R and AND only, not implications, biconditionals, quantifiers. These are not allowed in conjunctive normal form. So the rules for converting to conjunctive normal form is first remove the implications, move negations inward, that's negative normal form that we have already done. Standardize the variables if there are different variables that are confusing. Move quantifiers to the front, and then we have to do the Skolemization, that is remove the existential quantifiers and replace it with the Skolem constants or functions, and then drop the universal quantifiers and then distribute R over AND to make it conjunctive normal form. So to do that, we have to learn the Skolemization also. But now let us see the rules. We have to remove the implications in this example, that we know that if we have the implications, we have to put negation P or Q. Then we have to move the negations inward using De Morgan's law. And then the standardize the variable. Here everything is standardized, so no need any change. Prenex normal form, that no quantifiers are present here, otherwise we have to take all the quantifiers to the front. Then we have to Skolemize it, because there is no existential quantifier, we will not do that also. And we have to drop the universal, there is no universal quantifiers also, so that also we need not do. Then we have to distribute R over AND. This is already R over AND only, so we also need not do anything, and we can just write as it is. Now it is negation P or Q and negation R or S or T. So this is in the conjunctive normal form. What is Skolem standard form? The Skolem standard form is a quantifier free formula obtained by eliminating all existential quantifiers using Skolem constants and Skolem function after converting to Prenex normal form. So the general form here, only we have universal quantifiers before the matrix with the Skolem's constants and functions. So the matrix never contains any quantifiers, and it will contain only the Skolem constants as C, K1, K2. And the Skolem functions can be f of x, g of x comma y, h of x comma y comma z. So how to do this? The formulas: eliminate the existential quantifiers. So how to eliminate these existential quantifiers is to replace it with the Skolem constants or Skolem functions. And when we want to replace with the Skolem constants, if existential x is not within the scope of any universal, then we have to use a new constants. Otherwise, we have to use the universal quantifier that is present. Replace with the Skolem function if there exists x is within the scope of universal y of y1 or yn, then we can use any Skolem function f of y. Otherwise, we have to use f of x comma y. And then we have to drop these universal quantifiers that are present before the matrix. And the result will be only with the predicates, constants and functions without no quantifiers. For a quick summary, if there exists p of x can be replaced with p of c, and here c is a Skolem constant. Now, there for all y, there exists x, p of x comma y. Here we have to remove the existential quantifier x, and if you want to remove it, we have to make everything with the universal quantifier y. So all the x will be replaced by f of y, and here it is a Skolem function p of f of y. Suppose we have 3, here 2 universal and only 1 existential z. Then how to change that one? Already we have x and y as universal, so this z can be replaced with the Skolem function in terms of x and y. So here we have p of g of x comma y Skolem function. So here the Skolemization flow will be removing implications, standardizing variables, converting to Prenex normal form and eliminating the existential quantifier. Then after that, dropping the universal quantifier also. So for example, here we are moving the Prenex normal form, taking all the universal, that means universal y and existential z to the front, and then we are eliminating first the existential x, and there is no universal before it, so we can directly replace it with the constant c. So wherever there is x, we replace with c. So here we see p of c and q of c comma y comma z. Now we have a second existential quantifier z, but before that we have y, which means this existential quantifier z is in the scope of universal quantifier y. So I have to replace all the z with y. So I can replace with f of y. So wherever there is z, I can replace with f of y. That is why we have in q of c comma y comma z, this z alone is replaced with f of y. Now we have to remove the universal quantifier. So the statement or the expression goes like p of c and q of c comma y f of y. This is now in Skolem standard format. What is resolution rule in propositional logic? It is an inference rule used to derive a new class from two classes that contain a pair of complementary literals. That is, there will be two classes from that we derive another one class. That is the resolution rule. So this resolution rule, for example, A or L, B or not L, then it will produce A or B. Because the literal L and negation L is itself will complement each other, then there is no possibility of L here and it will produce A or B. So that we will apply to make it as a resolution rule. Now how? This theorem proving using resolution, we have to convert all statements to conjunctive normal form, then add the negated goal clauses to this particular one, then we have to use this resolution rule. So convert it into conjunctive normal form, and we have to negate that goal and convert it into CNF. Then we have to find, after applying the resolutions, we will get the output. Now for you, how you are going to practice. Here there are 4 statements or 4 problems that are given to you to convert into negation normal form, Prenex normal form, conjunctive normal form, and Skolem standard format. So convert it so that you will be having better understanding of how to convert a normal statement into the particular order. Thank you.